Dear students, welcome to the biology classes. So, in the previous classes, we were studying chapter 7 Diversity in Living Organisms. So, in that chapter, we have studied various systems of classification and we have studied about the 5 kingdom classification and the various organisms or the characteristics of various kingdoms. And I have also explained you about the kingdom Plantae in detail. Isn't it? Kingdom Plantae contains what? Thallophyta, Bryophyta, Pteridophytes, Gymnosperms and Angiosperms. So we have studied all of them. Now we are going to study a new topic, that is kingdom Animalia. Okay, kingdom Animalia. So do you remember what were the characteristic feature of kingdom Animalia? They are eukaryotic, multicellular and heterotrophic. Their cells are not having cell walls and most of them are mobile organisms. They can move from one place to another, isn't it? And they are again divided into a number of groups, okay, or phyla, depends upon various category or various criteria. Understood? So kingdom Animalia is grouped into the next category. What is the next category after kingdom? Phylum or division. Okay, in case of animals it is phylum. So the kingdom Animalia is divided into a number of phyla, depends upon various criteria. Okay, so criteria like what? Whether the body is having cellular level of organization or they are having tissue level of organization or organ level of organization. Okay, then whether the body can be divided into two equal halves through a single plane or through different planes. Understood? So many criteria are taken into consideration and the kingdom Animalia is divided into a number of phyla. Okay, so the first phylum is what? The Porifera. Okay, Porifera is the phylum which contains the primitive group of animals. Okay, the word itself, the word Porifera means what? Which are bearing pores. Okay, so many pores are there in their body. That's what they got the name Porifera. Okay, then this pores will be leading to a canal system. Okay, many pores will be there and this pore will be leading to a canal system. You can see here. So this is the canal system. Okay, and the small pores, through the small pores water enters into the body and it will move out through the this body. Okay, so like this. So I told the pores are there, through pores, okay, water enters and it will move through a common opening. Okay, and when you see the animals, they are having what? Cellular level of organization, means in their body cells are there. Okay, of course group of cells are there and these cells are not joined to form tissues, not tissue formation is there. Okay, and then their body is covered with a hard outside layer or skeleton. Okay, skeleton is there or a hard layer is there. Okay, and what the organisms which are coming under this group is known as sponges. What are they? Sponges. Okay, so they are marine or aquatic, means freshwater types, means they are simply aquatic. Okay, they are mainly aquatic organisms. So what are the speciality of the first phyla? The first phyla of animal kingdom is phylum Porifera, isn't it? So the Porifera means what? The organisms which bear halls or pores. Okay, and another important feature is what they are, even though we call them as animals, the animal speciality is what? They move from one place to another. So even though we call them as animals, these are special special animals which will not move. They will be found attached to the substratum like rocks in the water. Okay. Then what I told, there are many pores in their body, and these pores will lead to a canal. Okay, there will be a canal in the center of the body, and through which water, through the pores of the body, water enters, and after getting into the canal, they will be going out through the another big pore. Okay, so like this water which is circulating through their canal system is functioning as a circulatory system, okay, which help in the transporting various materials. Okay, they help to do the function of respiratory system, that is exchange of gases. So all this will be done with this the canal, okay, water canal. Understood? And the organisms of them, this phylum, are generally known as the sponges. Okay, sponges. So generally these organisms are known as sponges. Okay, and the examples of sponges are Euplectella, okay, Euplectella, Cycon, and Spongilla. Okay, so these are examples of sponges. Generally the organisms are called, okay, generally the organisms which are coming under phylum Porifera are known as what? Sponges. And these are examples of sponges. Okay, which are they? Spongilla, Cycon, Euplectella, etc. The next phylum is what? Coelenterata. What is that? Coelenterata. So other name for Coelenterata is Cnidaria. Okay, Cnidaria. So these animals, they are also found in water. Okay, and their body is little more advanced. You can see the tissue level of organization. Okay, so in the previous phylum what we have seen, they were having cellular level of organization. Here it is the tissue level of organization. Do you remember what is tissues? Tissues are group of cells which do same functions, isn't it? They do, for example, cardiac tissue means a group of tissue which work in the heart or which works as the heart. Muscular tissue means means a number of cells they group together to form to do some functions are known as what? Muscular the tissues. So in here in the Coelenterata also you can see what? The tissue level of organization. They also have a cavity in the body, and through this cavity, okay, and this cavity is having only one pore, one opening, okay, and through this opening water enters into the body and it moves out through the out from the body. Okay, so there are two layers of cells in them. One make up the outside part of the body and the other make the inner lining of the body. Okay, and you can see them as living as colonies. Have you heard about corals? So corals are coming under the coelentrates. Okay, they are also known as what? Cnidaria. Have you heard? Cnidaria. Okay, why they are known as Cnidaria? Because they are having some special cells called cnidoblast. Okay, so with that they can they can escape from the predators. Understood? So these kind of organisms, okay, some of them are colonial forms, I said. Okay, have you heard about corals? Corals, reefs and all. Okay, so this organisms, some of them live in colonies. Example is corals. Okay, and some others are living as solitary organisms, means they live alone. Example is hydra. Okay, then jellyfish, sea anemone, etc. are coming under this. Okay, so the organisms which are coming under Coelenterata, they can be either sedentary. Sedentary means they will not move. They will be seen attached to the, means they can live by attaching themselves to the substratum, or sometimes as free floating ones. Free floating ones means which live by floating on the surface of water. Okay, so example is jellyfish. Jellyfish is a free floating form. On the other hand, hydra is a sedentary form. Understood? And sometimes you can see the sedentary forms and the floating forms, they alternate with each other in the life cycle. Means the sedentary form produces the floating forms, and floating forms again they produce the sedentary forms. Okay, so like this, these are special group of organism where you can see which kind of organization, tissue level of organization. Okay, so tissues are formed, then there will be a cavity, okay, water cavity, and this cavity is having only one opening. Understood? And then I told these shows what some of them are colonial forms and some are the means the solitary forms. Okay, so these are what different kinds of what different peculiarities of the phylum Coelenterata or Cnidaria. Okay, then next comes what? The next phylum is Platyhelminthes. Okay, so Platyhelminthes, from the name itself it is very clear that their body is flat, okay, and they are bilaterally symmetrical. So children, do you know what is bilaterally symmetrical? That is, if the body can be divided into left and right half, okay, with same design, okay, means both the left side and right side should be equal. If you cut the body into two equal halves through only a single plane, means when you cut the body into two equal halves through only one plane, you will get two equal halves. That kind of symmetry is known as what? Bilateral symmetry. So here onwards you can see bilateral symmetry. Okay, so what will be the symmetry seen in Porifera and Cnidarians or Coelentrates? It was radial symmetry. Means the body can be divided into two equal halves if you cut the body into two, means through any plane. Just have you seen the starfish? So if you cut the starfish into two equal halves through any plane passing through the central axis, you will get two equal halves. So they are having what? Radial symmetry. But if you cut the human being into two equal halves horizontally, one piece will have what? Head, and the other piece will have what? Leg. So is it equal? No. But if you are cutting the human being's body into two halves through a single plane, that is the vertically if you are cutting, okay, so that each half will have one leg, one hand likewise, isn't it? So that kind of organism in which the body can be cut into two equal halves through only a single plane is known as bilaterally symmetrical. So Platyhelminthes onwards you can see bilateral symmetry. Okay, that is the left and right half of the body will have the same design. Okay, and then another important feature that you can see from here is the body is triploblastic. Means these organisms are triploblastic. Triploblastic means you can see three germinal layers. Okay, three layers of cells from which their tissues or the organs are made. So that condition is known as triploblastic. That is, you might have heard about zygote. Zygote is what? It's a single cell from which all the other organs are formed. So during the development of the different organs, this single cell will first divide to form a mass of cell, and this mass of cell will get arranged in three layers. Okay, in higher organisms, that is from Platyhelminthes you can see that triploblastic condition means three layers will be formed: ectoderm, endoderm and mesoderm. Understood? So this type of organisms where three germinal layers are there are known as triploblastic. Okay, so triploblastic organisms they are. Okay, and then there is no cavity or coelom. There can be there is no true internal body cavity or coelom. Means some organisms are classified into coelomate, acoelomate and the true coelomate. Okay, so depends upon that. You can see that the platyhelminthes are not true coelomates, but cavity is there, that is not that is not lined by the mesodermal tissues. Okay, so they are, so these are the characters of what? The platyhelminthes. Understood? Platyhelminthes. Their body is dorso-ventrally flattened, just what, thin and leaf-like. That's what their body is. Or they are known as flatworms. Okay, and there are free-living forms and parasitic forms. Free-living means they live freely without parasiting anyone. Okay, and there are parasitic forms like what? Liver flukes. Free living forms example is planaria. Planaria is example for a free living one. Understood? So these are what the characteristic of platyhelminthes. So what all I said about platyhelminthes, their body is flat, dorsi-ventrally flattened. That's what they got the name flatworms. Okay, then they are bilaterally symmetrical, means the body can be divided into two equal halves only through one plane. Understood? Then I told you they are triploblastic. Triploblastic means the body is having 3 layers. Okay, 3 layers are there. What are they? Ectoderm, endoderm and mesoderm. Okay, and they are not true coelomates. Coelom is there, but it is not true coelomates. Okay, so these are the characters of platyhelminthes, and the organisms coming under this are planaria, liver fluke, tapeworm. Planaria is a free living form, and liver fluke and tapeworms are parasitic ones. Hope this much is clear. So let's stop.